right. Hi, this is Mary with Hyson Grows. And since my oldest Nubian doe, Bambi, is about 11 days away from her kidding date, I figured it was time to drag out my kidding supply box and check it over. So I'm going to show you what I usually have on hand. This is just a good sized plastic tote. I have quite a few towels in here. I just take whenever the bath towels are starting to get a little old and ratty, they come to the kidding box. I have a bottle of lube and a thermometer. This was just an inexpensive one. Find them in the baby section at Walmart or your dollar store. And I think technically these are called ear syringes, okay, but I use them to suction their noses and mouths if they've got too much crud in there and we need to clear airways so that they can breathe. I also have a box of hand warmers in case it's cold and I'm sitting out there all night. I now have battery operated rechargeable ones, which is really super awesome. These are left over from last year. I have a bottle of iodine because I will dip navels, and I just keep a little baby food jar. I put iodine in there and then I hold the kid up, or when they stand up, I just go right up under their belly and dip their whole umbilical cord into the iodine. There's some paper towels in here. That's pretty much all I keep in the box on hand. I'll take this out once I see that a doe is really getting with it and really starting to be serious in her labor. This is the box I will take with me. The other thing in my kidding box of supplies is my gloves. I don't usually buy the big long OB gloves. Most of the time the shorter gloves are fine, but if it makes you feel better, by all means grab a package of the big OB gloves that will go up past your elbows. But usually with a goat, I'm not needing to go in that far. I just need to go normally right into the beginning to check and see that a kid's presenting correctly, and maybe I need to, if I have just a butt and tail, I might need to reach in and a little ways and hook legs backwards so that I can get a kid out, but not usually too bad. There are some other things that I keep on hand. I can't lay my hands on my selenium paste. I do live in a selenium deficient area. I'm trying to not have to pull the whole box down. I'll have to hunt. So I do generally tend to have a tube of selenium and vitamin E gel paste on hand. This past year, I've switched my does over to the mineral buffet system, where they have like 20 vitamins and minerals, free choice, and they can pick what they need. And so I don't anticipate needing the selenium gel this year. In the past, I've seen kids with kind of weak in the hindquarters, they're trying to get up, but they can't quite get up even after a period of time. And sometimes that is selenium deficiency. That's what they call white muscle disease, especially in calves. And so I have always had the selenium paste on hand to give them a little dose of that if they need it when they're born. The other thing I usually have on handy is my drench gun. I really like this one. I got this one at Tractor Supply. You can get it other places. It holds about 2 ounces. So if I needed to, I could drench my doe if she needs something while she's in labor or afterwards. And something she might need. And again, this is probably more pertinent in past years without our mineral buffet, but some CMPK drench. Whoops. Let's turn you. So this is calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, and potassium with vitamin D3. And this is really helpful if you think that your doe might be coming down with milk fever, or she just really needs a good boost after kidding and she's starting to come into a large amount of milk. And handy in the kitchen is a jar of molasses. I actually picked up a couple more jars this week. After a doe kids, I'll put a big plop, maybe it could be like a quarter of a cup of molasses in some hot water. What I'll do is I'll put the molasses in a little bucket, like a 2-gallon bucket, and I pour boiling water over it to dissolve it, and then I fill the rest of the bucket with cold water so that it's just kind of tepid. And the girls usually will just slurp it right up. The molasses gives them a little sugar, it gives them some energy, and it does have small amounts of trace minerals in it. In the drawer of the spare refrigerator, I do have some dextrose. If we have somebody that was going down and needed some boosting, I have, that was Thailand, that was for chickens, some B12, and some vitamin B complex. This B complex, read your labels carefully, this one does not contain B12. The B12 is sold separate. This one's an injectable, and the B12 is an oral. And then I also am usually stocked up on things like penicillin. This is, lost its label. Oh, that's the LA200, and some oxytetracycline. So those are things that I keep on hand. They're always in the refrigerator unless and until I need them. I don't usually need them very often, but I have them if I do. I have found that at least here with my animals in my environment, if we're coming down with summer pneumonia, that's what I usually keep the Thailand 200 for. But things like if I have a doe that I had to reach in and assist, then we might have a possibility of infection, and that's what I'll use penicillin for. Always check with your vet to check up on your dosages and what kind of medications you need for which situations. And then the vitamins, you can give the vitamins to kids that seem to need a boost, or to your mama if she had a really hard time and she needs a little energy boost. Those will help. The B complex vitamins are used up real rapidly when you are in stress, and tough deliveries can be very stressful. Anyway, that's what I usually keep in my box that I'm going to take out to the goat pen with me, and then other things that I have around in the house, on the shelf, in the refrigerator, if I need them. 99% of the time, does are just fine. They have their kids just fine, and everything goes really smooth. It's just nice to be prepared just for those few times that kids are tangled up, or they need a little assistance getting out, or getting their airways cleared out, or they just need a little boost. And it's because you're going to increase your survivability there. The big deal for me is, especially if the air temperature is very cool, like under 80, or there's any kind of wind or breeze at all, one of the most important things you can have is your thermometer. Because if the kid's body temperature drops below 101.5, they are not going to have a sucking reflex. They aren't going to be lively. They aren't going to be trying to get up and nurse. They're just going to basically lay down and die. So body temperature is like one of, after clearing the airways, keeping that body temp up is like number one. So, though, if a doe is vigorously licking and stimulating her kids, and you can always help with a towel, getting them dried off, especially if it's cool, and stimulating them and getting them up and getting them to nurse and get that first dose of colostrum down them, those all go a really long ways towards a happy, healthy kid. Happy kidding!